All right, so I'm with my buddy Cody right here. Cody, want to tell them what happened to your leg?
Yeah, sure. So about 2 weeks ago almost, I completely ruptured my left patellar tendon playing basketball. So if you don't know, for simple terms, your patellar tendon will connect your kneecap down to your shin. So I had no mobility, no ability to flex my quad and extend my legs. So currently in a knee brace for 4 weeks without bending my knee, and then I'll start physical therapy soon after that.
Basically, the position Cody's in right now is a lot of people, when they get injured, especially leg injuries, which prevent you from, running around, jogging, playing sports, whatever. A lot of people put on a lot of excess weight, right? Because your activity level is decreasing drastically, but for most people, your amount of calories, the amount of food you eat, your diet doesn't really change. So you go from, like Cody was lifting weights, 4 times a week, 5 times a week?
6 times. Yeah.
6 times a week?
Yeah.
Oh my God, more than me.
Monday through Saturday.
So Cody was lifting weights 6 times a week, and he was playing basketball, 5, 4?
Playing basketball 3 times a week.
So lifting weights 6 times a week, playing basketball 3 times a week, plus just every day getting up, walking, at his job, walking to his desk, walking to the stairs, walking to get water, so on and so forth. And so the position he's in right now is that activity's dropping drastically. So we got to figure out, how do we set up his diet such that he's not going to start putting on excess fat while he's injured. So that's what today's video is about. First thing I always say heading into it, always remember your starting calories are just that, they're starting calories. So as you go, you're going to want to be paying attention to your body weight fluctuations, paying attention to your average body weight, paying attention to your progress photos, things like that, and adjusting. For my clients, what I basically do, I have a primary formula that I use, but beyond that, I always compare it to a few other ways to start to set calories. So the inputs we're going to need is Cody's age, his activity level, which we know is low, his body weight, and his height, and that's going to spit out what we think his starting calories should be, and then we might adjust from there. So first of all, age, what are you?
24.
24? All right, so when it comes to physical activity, I break it into 5 different categories, right? So the top category is somebody who's elite already. They have a lot of muscle mass and a lot of activity. A person in that position is going to be able to get away with eating more calories than somebody who's a beginner and doesn't have much muscle mass. Next level down is either you have a lot of muscle mass or you have a lot of activity, either one. In the middle is basically reasonable muscle mass, reasonable activity level, a little bit of both, not a lot. Below that, a little bit, some muscle mass, some activity, and then newbie is just very little muscle mass, very little activity. What I would do for you, so I've done this before with one person who was coming off a similar injury with a knee issue. We went below the newbie number. So if newbie is 0.85, we started at 0.8, just because we're already accounting for the fact that you're not partitioning nutrients to the muscle right now. And on top of that, your day-to-day life is not very active right now. So I'm going to plug in 0.8 and we'll see where that gets us. Boom, and then body weight is
220. We'll call it 224.
224? 224, and then height.
6'1.5".
6 foot, okay.
You can't leave off the half inch.
Don't worry, I'm gonna add the half. All right, so right now, basically the estimate we came out with was for kind of maintenance level calories being about 2,500. This is what we think is the maintenance level calories.
Yeah.
So once we figure out what a person's maintenance level calories are, if this person is dieting, we're going to subtract about 200 to 300 from that number. If they're bulking, we're going to add about 200 or 300 from that number, and then we're going to see the results and go from there. So I would say for you right now, 25, 32, and if we took, say, 200 off of that, 23, 32, right? So in all likelihood, that's going to be the calories we start with. My thing with people, with clients, is I never want to start them with calories that are too low, because then we don't have room to adjust. Yeah. Especially for someone like you who's immobile, if you hit a stagnation point, I don't get to just say, hey, go do cardio.
Yeah.
Hey, go play basketball.
Yeah.
I don't get to do that. I have less tools in the arsenal, so I'd rather start conservatively and have room to adjust. We've decided that Cody's introductory macronutrients are going to be 2,300 calories. That means for the first week or 2 weeks, he's going to consistently eat around 2,300. If he's losing weight, if he's making progress, if he's losing fat, then we'll stay at 2,300 until we have to change. If he's stagnating, if he's putting on fat, putting on weight, then we'll decrease even further. Realistically, if his only goal is to lose weight and to lose fat, just nailing the calories alone is going to get him 80, 90% of the way there. But the macronutrients come into play. So number one, protein. Protein is going to be important for Cody because before this, he was lifting weights 6 days per week, adding a lot of muscle mass, and he wants to make sure he holds on to as much muscle mass as possible, even though he's injured. Okay, that's number one. So for protein, 1 gram of protein is going to be roughly 4 calories. Keep that in mind. Number two, his dietary fats. A lot of people hear dietary fats and they think, oh my God, if I eat fat, then I'm going to get fat. And if I don't eat fat, then I don't get fat. It's not how it works. Dietary fats, it's going to allow him to, number one, support his brain, his central nervous system. It's going to help him with vitamin absorption, and it's going to help him with his hormonal balance. All those are very, very crucial elements to him being his natural healthy self. So 1 gram of fat is going to be about 9 calories roughly. Keep that in mind. And then carbohydrates are also important for energy, but for Cody specifically, historically, he does a lot better on lower carbohydrates. With carbohydrates, 1 gram of carbohydrates is going to be roughly 4 calories. So the process we're going to do is, number one, we're going to set his protein target. Number two, we're going to set his dietary fat target. And then number three, whatever calories we have left to work with, we're going to attribute that to carbohydrates. So the first thing I typically set is a person's protein levels. Now, throughout the research, probably the most common range you're going to find is anywhere from 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight, and a lot of the research skews closer to that 0.8. So for my average client, I set them at either 0.8 or actually sometimes below that. For Cody's case in particular, I would say you're not training right now, so we don't have a lot of muscular damage that's happening as a result of gym training. I'm going to skew closer to that 0.8. We can always change it later today. We can always change it as the day goes on. But for right now, to get the ball rolling, I'm going to start with 0.8. So I'm going to take, he was 224 pounds, multiplied by 0.8, big muscle mass. Okay, so after I've set protein, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set his dietary fat level. And within the research, the most common ranges you're going to find for dietary fats is anywhere from 0.35 to 0.45. Now, Cody just told me that historically, he does a lot better with lower carbohydrates. So I'm going to set the fats for now higher to that 0.45. We're going to 224 multiplied by 0.45. Finally, from his protein and his fats, that takes up a total of 1,600 calories. And we know that for Cody's goals, we want him to be eating 2,300 calories total for the day. That means we have about 700 calories to now dedicate to carbohydrates. So we take his caloric number that's left remaining, divide it by 4. And for Cody, we're going to set his carbohydrates at 170 grams per day. Okay, so final step, we figured out that his ideal macronutrients are going to be 179 grams of protein, 100 grams of fat, and 170 grams of carbohydrates. He has his macros, he has his calories. All that's left to do now, plug him into MyFitnessPal, start executing and start tracking the results. If we have to adjust, we will, but as long as he continues to lose weight, lose fat, have high energy, all that good stuff, we'll stay where we're at. If we do have to adjust, if he hits a stagnation, we will simply begin decreasing some of those carbohydrates. So right now he's at 2,300 calories. If he hits a stopping point, a stagnation, we'll take away about 25 grams of carbs, which will decrease calories by about 100 calories. We'll run that for a week or two. He should start losing weight again. And then if he hits stagnation again, once again, we have room to adjust further and further. And then eventually his knee repairs, he gets back into the gym, And the beautiful thing is if you fast forward by 2 months, 3 months, and he's pretty lean, he's pretty low body fat, but he's only eating, 1,900 or 2,000 calories per day. But when it's time for him to start being active again, we can probably start actually increasing those calories. So he might be at, 2,000 calories by the time September gets here. But if he's ready to start training again, even though his goal is still to lose fat, we might actually bump him up to 2,100 or to 2,200 just because his activity level is changing. So for the folks at home, the main takeaway is that if his goal is fat loss and losing weight, the number one thing for him is going to be his overall caloric target, staying at those 2,300 calories. Beyond that, because he is an athlete, he does have a history of lifting weights, wants to maintain that muscle mass, then we want to make sure he nails his protein target as well. And then from there, we're throwing in the fats and the carbohydrates to round everything out. That's all I got. Cody, any final words?
That's it. Appreciate the help.
Time to execute. And one more time. Peace. Sounds good.
I didn't even do it right. I didn't know that's what we were doing. I was gonna go with the finger gun.